Hey, what is going on, everybody? And in today's video, I want to go over and discuss the Shadows of Deathpool event, not Deadpool, Deathpool, that is going to be arriving Friday at the store reset time. So as usual, every patch, we're going to be having a bit of a math review here by going over exactly how many cores you need to spend to reach your goal for Deathpool, whether it's 4-star, 5-star, or the very dreaded 6-star, because Cerebro said if you guys remember that if you try really hard, then you can definitely get 6 or 7 stars free to play. Actually, I'm not sure if he said free to play, but he definitely said you can get 6 or 7 stars. So I thought, hey, why not go and see how difficult this actually would be? But before we get on to that, I'm going to touch on the trait requirements for this event from the perspective of my baby account here, Boilon89, and go over some of the characters that I plan to use and think might be best for others. Of course, for veterans out there, though, you'll likely have whatever you need to complete this anyway, so you might not need to watch this. So without further ado, let's get this show started. So to start things off, before we get to the traits, we can see here that in the events tab we have the Shadows of Deathpool event and the post-mortem milestone. It says flash event, but I think realistically it's going to be very much like the Sharon Carter milestone event that we had, which basically you spend campaign energy and do other things and get rewards for that. So if you click on that and it gives you the preview, basically what we want, the post-mortem milestone. So score points towards a daily milestone by participating in the campaign, and so in this case it's not just campaign energy, it's gonna be campaign energy as well as bonus points for using a Deathpool in arena and raids. Now this one's a wonky one because she's not really a arena character, she is a raid character, so I'm hoping that you're not required to use her to actually clear this milestone, because well, you know, she's a 100 shard unlock character, so this is not going to be unlocked for probably a handful of days after the event starts. My guess is by Monday people might start unlocking them based on how many shards you'll probably accumulate, but we'll very likely see very similar rewards, similar to the Sharon Carter milestone. So we'll be getting origin gear. We're also going to be getting the superior miasma. So for the Sharon Carter milestone, we did get titanium alloy, which was the unique for Sharon Carter. It was a 2-day milestone that repeated 7 times for 14 days or something like that, I think it was. And we got a total, if I'm not mistaken, we got a total of 28. It was 4 titanium alloy 7 times, I'm pretty sure. So that gave us a total of 28 of those alloy. So if we get at least 28 miasma, then hey, that's great, because we're going to need a lot of that. It might not be enough to get you to gear tier 15, but it's close enough to gear tier 14 at the very least. So fingers crossed that we might get at least that many, and of course catalyst bars, orange elite orb fragments, and T2 ISO 8 credits. If I'm not mistaken, that may have also been in the Sharon Carter thing, but it was very it was crap. That's not important. What's really important is the miasma and any of the origin gear that might appear with that. So unfortunately we don't really have the milestone available to us, so we're not going to be able to go over the math for that, but realistically it's probably not going to be that difficult. When it came to previous milestones, the Sharon Carter milestone and the Kestrel campaign, I'm pretty sure you had to core somewhere between actually, for the Kestrel, it was the President Loki costume. Sorry, Phyla-Vell, not Kestrel. You needed to do 4 times 50, so the 200 daily for power cores in order to complete that. Sometimes you needed to dip into the 100s to completely clear the milestone. I'm hoping that once you do unlock Deathpool and you use her in raids, that might be able to compensate for some of those extra coring, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if I'll do a separate video for that unless it's really complicated. Otherwise, I'll probably just leave it as is. So let's go back and take a look at the special trait for this, and it's Devout, right? I think it's Devout, that's what it is. Devoted, sorry, not devout, devoted. So here are all the characters that you can use for this. I have some of these starred because I've been working on them slowly. So who are the best characters that I have on the top of my list? Well, Phyla-Vell, great character. So if you have her, then definitely use her. Phyla-Vell and Moondragon actually together. So those two are really nice together. Cap Sam, so if you just unlocked him recently out of the Strike Pass, I definitely recommend gearing him up because he is a very solid character. Sharon Carter as well. Seems like there's some duos going on here. Cap Sam and Sharon Carter, Phyla-Vell and Moondragon. We have Deadpool here as well, but some of the better characters, Maria Hill's also in there actually, so all of the Secret Avengers are in there if you have them unlocked. Thor and Hela are also in there, and after that, it really devolves. There's not a lot of good characters actually beyond that. So if I was a new player, you know, frankly, I don't have most of these other characters down here that are even available unlocked. Hydra Armor Guard, nope. Corvus, nope. Okoye, nope. Vision, nope. Cyclops, Drax, Scarlet Witch, Namor, Black Panther. None of these are good characters. Hawkeye, maybe. Hela, Sharon Carter, Thor, Cap Sam, Moondragon, Phyla-Vell, and then after that, it gets really tricky. There's the Deadpool and Cable combo, I guess. Again, a twosome there. Colleen Wing and Misty Knight. Groot and Rocket, I suppose, here. And then Beast and whoever he was supposed to be paired up with down there. But realistically, maybe Cyclops. But there's not a lot of great choices. So if you're trying to put a fivesome together, your best bet is probably the ones that I have at the top, which is really Phyla-Vell, Moondragon, Cap Sam, Sharon Carter, and Thor Hela. So 5 of those 6, I guess. I know there's not a lot of great options here. Let me know in the comments down below who you plan to use for this event, because if you're a new player, newer than I am, at because I'm level 66, if you're even lower level than me, and hopefully you got Cap Sam though, and hopefully you were around for the Infinity Watch patch and you managed to get Phyla-Vell from the event campaign and possibly Moondragon from the event. Otherwise, it might be a little tricky. Thor is a little bit easier to unlock, and some of the other ones are as well, like Hawkeye, but realistically, there's not a lot of great choices here. So, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about for that part. We're also going to quickly dive into the orb. We did that just the other day as well when we looked at the patch review stuff. The Devoted Orb is not very good. Because there's not a lot of good characters in this trait, equally this orb is not good. Beast, Colleen Wing, Hela, Misty Knight, Red Skull, maybe, and that's really about it. There's not a lot of good, useful characters in here as consolation prizes. Some of the ones, like for Phyla-Vell and for Kestrel, had some decent characters in the mix for the traits, so it made opening the orbs a little bit better if you got one of the other characters, but this one, not so great, unfortunately. So that's all I'm going to say about the Postmortem, Milestone, and the Shadows of Deathpool event, and the orb and the characters. Let's hop on over to the spreadsheets where we're actually going to talk about the math and how you're going to get the goal of 4, 5, 6-star Deathpool. Alright, so here we are in the infamous spreadsheet. So I want to start off by saying a few things. A, this spreadsheet will be available in the description below if you want to take a look at it on your own time. B, the best thing to do when going into a campaign event is knowing what your goal is. So this may be based on what you pulled for red stars, but knowing in advance, are you aiming for a 4-star? Well, if you're a really new player, are you aiming for a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, which is a bit more difficult? I was joking a little bit about the 6-star because it is incredibly difficult, and the amount of cores that you would have to spend is pretty astronomical. But just for shits and giggles, I did do some of the math for that. We'll take a look at that towards the end, though. But realistically, you're probably somewhere in the 4 to 5-star range. And we'll take a look as to exactly how many cores that you're going to need to spend in order to get to one of those. So again, knowing exactly where you want to get to very early on, that way you can kind of set a goal for yourself. And if you happen to reach that goal early on, you can, ease off on the coring if you want, or however you want to spend your cores. But doing it very early and reaching that goal earlier is better. So let's talk about the free shards that you get for this event. And by the way, it is a 15-day event campaign. They're all about 15 days. Things haven't really changed that much in that regard, so I don't expect it to. So 15 days is the expected duration. So free shards, you do get this in hard mode. A lot of these calculations, all the calculations realistically are going to be with hard mode in mind here. So after you do all 9 of the levels, you're going to get a free total of 27 shards. Now, like I said, Deathpool is a 100 shard unlock and not 45 shards. A lot of the campaign event characters were 45 shards. Maybe Phyla-Vell was 100, actually, now that I think about it. But usually, they're 45 shards. I guess more recently it's been 100. So you get 225, 225, 225, going down the levels all the way to level 9. And of course, it's 2,000 fragments per orb, so there is that as well. And the available fragments per day, in hard mode is as follows. So 1.1 to 1.3 is 500 fragments a day, and then 600, and then 700 for the next 3 levels. And this gives you a grand total of 5,400 fragments per day throughout hard mode. Obviously, this costs a total of 900 energy. So if you are doing your 200 daily coring, that's roughly about how much it's going to take. So where you're going to get this energy, though, and how much total you're going to get per day. So your free-to-play energy is 288. Now, this is 12 energy per hour times 24 hours, and that gets you 288. 240 from your 30, not your 30, your 3 refreshes that you get. 80 energy per refresh. There's 3 of these, 3 times per day, depending on my daily refreshes might be different than everyone else's, I'm not sure. And then when you do your coring, you actually only get 100 energy. Some people think, well, you get 120. You don't. That's just for the main campaign energy, not the event campaign energy. You get 100 per refresh, so that's 400 if you do all 4 refreshes, giving you a grand total of 928. So if you've been around for some of these videos in the past, then you'll know that I do have a variety of different scenarios depending on how many cores you want to spend. So we're going to talk about scenario 1. This is the best case scenario in my opinion. This is you doing 450 core refreshes a day for a grand total of 200 cores daily, which over the course of 15 days, and maybe I should have put that here, that's a total of 3,000 cores over the, oh yeah, sorry. No, I got that right. Yeah, that's 3,000 cores over 15 days. So just to point that out there. Energy spent, this is the 928 from the previous box, including all of your refreshes and all of your energy. Now, I added a little section about gold. Now, this is accurate for the first 4 scenarios, I think. After that, I didn't really carry it on because that was my 6-star estimate joke range. So you do get actually a decent amount of gold in these campaigns. You know, over the course of the full, the full event, you get about 1 million gold or so if you're doing your daily 50 core refreshes up to 200. And that's not too bad. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a little bit extra to count on, I guess. And the total amount of fragments that you're going to get out of that is 5,560. Now, this is all of the hard mode campaign, plus 2 attempts of the final medium level. And this gets you a grand total of 2.78 orbs per day. Now, over the 15 days, of course, multiply by 15, and you get pretty close to the 42 orbs. And so, per orb, the average is roughly around 5.4 shards per orb. Now, on top of the 27 orbs that you, 27 shards, not orbs, that you get for free, this brings you to about 252 shards. Now, what does that mean? That gets you pretty close to halfway to 5-star. That's approximately 72 shards out of 130. Now, this is an average, of course. It could be higher, it could be lower. I've known people to get 5-star just through doing the 50 core refreshes, but I would say that's probably on the luckier side. Now, if you are someone who is doing all the 50 core refreshes and you bought the offer, you're definitely going to be landing that 5-star. So do keep that in mind if you bought any of the offers. There's the initial offer. There's also, I think, some offers that come out later that's like smaller offers. So if you do buy any of those, keep in mind this goal here of 252. Again, I would say plus or minus 30 or so. I have in some instances, I believe it was for White Tiger, I kind of I did the 50 refreshes and I landed about 20 out of 130. So that would have been about 200 shards. So that was like really bad luck. That was probably the worst campaign event I ever did in terms of my luck, but typically you're going to reach this range. Now, scenario 2 is the middle ground range. This is about half as many cores, so about 100 core refreshes per day, which gets you around, I should have wrote this somewhere here, maybe 1,500 cores for over the course of the event. So depending on how much cores you have available to you, of course, is depending on how many cores you should put into this. Now, Deathpool is a very strong character, so I do recommend, at least going for scenario 1, but if you don't want to, in a nutshell, you can look over this here. You're going to get 750,000 gold, and what's important is the total orbs over the event, 34 or so, and that's going to get you about 212 estimated shards out of this throughout the event. Now, this gets you 4-star free to play, and if you're super unlucky, like I was for White Tiger, maybe you might not. You might just barely scrape through, but realistically you should, and if you're even luckier, you might get somewhere closer to this. I would often say that it's plus or minus about 30 to 40 shards, so depending on what your goal is, try to push a little bit further ahead than what you're trying to get to, so that way you don't, get disappointed by the fact that your luck was below average, and hey, Boilon screwed you because I said that you could get this at scenario 2 middle ground, but realistically it does come down to luck as well, and so if you are trying to push a little bit further, do that. And so scenario 3, this is the worst case. This is no refreshing. Really tight on your power cores, you just can't afford it for Deathpool for whatever reason, and this is realistically what you're probably going to get. So I really should have changed the colors. The red and the red is not a very good one. I've been using this one for a while. I need to change that sometime. So, realistically, going through towards the end, I mean, you're going to get a total of 26 orbs over the event. Again, 15-day event, 5.4 shards. This looks really yucky here. I don't like the coloring here. But anyways, this gets you a total of 168 shards. I'm going to change the color. This is one, no, that doesn't even help. Oh my god, let's go to black. Okay, 168 shards. So that is under the 4-star range. Now, what does that say? Well, if you're lucky, you will still get 4-star, but if you're unlucky, you will not. But very likely, you will still get the unlock at 3-star, which is 100 shards. So don't worry about that. But again, Deathpool is a very solid character, and I do recommend spending some cores, or all the 50 cores, if you want to get more star levels for her. So let's go on to the scenario 4, lots and lots of cores. Sorry, no, this is lots of cores, not lots and lots. We're not there yet. So this is 400 daily. This is 200. All of your 50 core refreshes plus 200 more from 2 times 100 core refreshes. Now, basically what's important, of course, is this is basically about 50 orbs over the course of the event, and that gets you to about 296 shards. Now, that's awfully close to 5-star, but what that means is that unless you're lucky, you're not going to be getting 5-star. You're going to be in the 260 to maybe about 330 on the upper side of things, so you might get 5-star, but you might not. This is about, I would say, you know, just over halfway. Just over halfway to 5-star if you're unlucky. So where you really will almost be guaranteed to get a 5-star is scenario 5 here in what I call lots more cores, and this is 600 daily. Now over the course of the event though, this is 9,000 cores, which is expensive. That is expensive. And by the way, the above one is 6,000 cores over the course of the event. So also kind of expensive, but you can see how there's a difference between 6,000 and 9,000, a difference of 3,000, but you are getting about a 40 shard estimated shard increase for those 3,000 cores. Now, that may not sound like it's worth it, but realistically, there's not much other ways other than spending money to get there. Now, total orbs over the event is about 57. And that brings us to 336 estimated shards. So that is where you're very likely going to, for sure, going to be landing that 5-star. Free to play if you have a lot of cores stacked up. Now, I have about 9,500 cores myself. And keep in mind, even though it's 9,000 cores over 15 days, you're still accumulating cores daily through arena and through other ways, so you're gonna get some of this back over that 15 days anyways, depending on how competitive you are in arena and so on. So this is very likely where you're gonna be for sure to get the 5-star free to play. I should have mentioned this here like I did on the other sides. 5-star is basically here, and going further, because of Cerebro, oh my god, I scrolled too far, sorry. Let's go up. What I call scenario 6 and scenario 7. Now these lots more cores, so I'm just doing this just for the fun of it now. So this is, although the math is fairly accurate, this is basically 1,500 daily cores. 50 times 4, 100 times 4, 200 times 4, and this also involves having to refresh the hard mode nodes. Now, when I was talking to Mr. Harker about this, like, I'm not even sure if there's enough fragments actually in the event campaign itself to give us this many shards, this many orbs over the course of the event. I'm not sure. I never actually verified this, so you might not even be able to do this. Hypothetically, if the fragments are available there for you to farm, though, you could get this, because this is going to get you about 70, not this one, the one below. This one's going to give you about 75 orbs and about an estimated shards of 436. Now, a 6-star is 510 shards. I had to remember that one. So scenario 7. Now, this is what I call the insane cores. This is 2,500 daily. Oh my lord. You can look at it yourself on the table. It's absolutely nuts. This is all of hard, all of medium, and the last 6 hard mode nodes refreshed again. That's how crazy this is in order to get there. That's a total of 37.5 thousand cores over the course of the event. Obviously, nobody really has this, and again, this one is also, what is this, 1,500 times 15. This is going to be like 22,500 cores on scenario 6. These aren't realistic, but doing the math, you would get about 94 orbs and about 537 estimated shards. Ding, 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 ding. So that's the 510 that you need for 6-star. 6-star free to play if you want to get to Deathpool 6 stars with 37,500 cores. Obviously, this is a bit of a joke. Please don't take this seriously. Nobody has that many amount of cores to do for this event. That is absolutely nuts. Anyways, that's not important. I just wanted to show you that, hey, if the fragments were available, hypothetically it is possible, and Cerebro is not wrong. Also, this might depend on if you bought any offers prior going into the event. I suppose you could take this 5-star version where we had this here, and count that plus your offers, and that would probably get you to about 6 stars if you bought both of the offers twice. That's the end of it. But realistically, people are going to be either in Scenario 5 or probably Scenario 1 at the top, which is your best case scenario. Or maybe, yeah, so you want to be either going for the 4-star or the 5-star, presumably. Take a look at this later on. I will leave this in the description below. Hopefully this helps you guys set a goal for yourself. Like I said, set a goal. Are you going to be a 3-star? Are you going to be a 4-star? Or are you going to be a 5-star Deathpool? At the end of the day, you know, you need to know exactly where you're going to get to for this event so you can plan accordingly with your cores and make sure that you have enough. So that's the end of the video, guys. Hopefully it helps. Let me know in the comments down below if it didn't or if it did. And until next time, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.